Hello, this is Agatha Books, and I'll be doing my EFM book, A Short Introduction to the Hebrew Bible, by John J. Collins. EFM is Education for Ministry. It is available to all Episcopalians and anyone who else who's interested. And my reading requirement was the preface through chapter 2. And since I don't have the book for my next reading assignment, I'll just be reading my old reading assignment, and I'll be covering each chapter one by one on YouTube. So this covers what the Hebrew and Old Testament are. Basically, there are different versions of the Hebrew scriptures. There's the Jewish version, which has the 5 books of Moses, followed by the prophets, and then the history. Here it is. Here are the differences. And then the Protestants changed the order. It has the same number of books, that they changed the order and put the prophets at the end because they want the prophets to reinforce the New Testament. And then the Catholics added a few new books as well as new passages to, I think, to some of the books. So the contents of the Bible depends on whether it's Hebrew, Protestant, or Catholic. And then there's the history of the Bible. Now, people have been studying what years things took place based on their events in the Bible, and then there's geography, which determines what might be the actual date for some events, such as the flood, are straight out rejected, while an escape for Egypt is disputed. The primary lesson from this is that the Bible is actually several centuries off from the events that took place in the Bible. Like, events mentioned in the Bible took place several centuries after the mentioning of them in the Bible. So historical accuracy in the Bible is shady at best. So when studying the Bible, since there are so many translations and interpretations, there are naturally going to be methods of interpretation. First was source criticism, which is sort of like literary criticism, and then someone tried to break it into pieces, which is form criticism, and then a reaction to form criticism became redaction criticism, and a more modern interpretation is to use archaeology for context. I prefer literary criticism because I consider the Bible to be literature and not historical fact. Still, context is very important in studying the scriptures, as people at the time used context very heavily compared today. And this book uses historical context. So it studies the stories in terms of the history that surrounds the stories. Like the context of the story is the history in which the story takes place. So that's the introduction. And I will be getting to chapter 1 in my next video. Thank you, and enjoy reading a short introduction to the Hebrew Bible. Or you can just sign up for EFM and they'll give you the book.